Hello, everyone, and welcome on this late night with Conversations with Grace. We're doing a new segment, you all. It's called Story Time, and our special guest today is Miss Eileen Head, and she will be giving us a testimony. I believe it's about a 35-year marriage that you recently got out of.
No, it was a while back.
It was a while back. Are you currently in a relationship now?
I'm single right now.
Oh, so you have not really dated much after this.
I've dated some, yeah, but I worked on myself a lot, personal growth, and um, I have a great life. And
Okay.
when a partner that matches my life and
Okay.
me his, and
Okay.
then we'll have a relationship.
I know that's right. So, how long ago did you exit this 35-year marriage?
2005,
How old were you when you got married?
18.
Okay. Okay. So, that was pretty young.
Yeah,
And
I met my husband when I was 16. I lived in a small farming town in
mhm,
Saskatchewan. And that was the thing to do. You married young. I
right,
thought
right.
we would be married forever. I thought,
Okay.
and it didn't turn out that way.
Mm-hmm. And are y'all still great friends or y'all got
Yep, we
children?
get along great. Yeah, we
Okay.
do.
Okay. How many children do you have?
I have two sons and four grandchildren. The oldest one
Okay.
is 18, and the
Mhm.
youngest is 14.
Okay. And that's your children or grandchildren? Which one?
Grandchildren are 18 and 14.
Okay.
Oh,
So
yeah, no, my sons are in their 40s.
okay, because you said you have four grandchildren, so
Yeah.
14, 18, and the other
Well,
ones.
the oldest is 18 and the youngest is 14.
Okay, and then the other one, but they're other between.
Yeah,
Okay.
18, 16, 16, and 14.
Okay. And so we want to kind of know what are some things you overcome. So you went through your marriage. What were the most tough times in your marriage? Like,
I couldn't figure out why we were great people, same values, same morals, same goals, and yet we just didn't connect. And I could
mhm,
not figure that out. I did everything I knew to bring us together. I took many courses. I
mhm,
attempted to get my husband to therapy,
mhm,
which he resisted. He went a few times. And it just got to the point where I felt I was out of integrity staying in that marriage
mhm.
because if you don't nurture something, it dies. So the love
Exactly.
died.
Yes.
And so I felt I was out of integrity and that I needed to leave, not just for him, but I was out of integrity with myself.
Hmm.
And so I did leave that marriage. And as I left, I found the Enneagram personalities. Now, most people go, the Ennea what? Or they go, oh, I love the Enneagram. Have you heard of it?
I haven't, but I kind of want to get through the 35 years before we get to the Enneagram because I want to know, you know, did y'all have any, like you got married at 18? What made you want to get married at 18? I know that that's something that you all did in that town, but like what made you choose to say, okay, this is the person I want to get married to? Like, what did you like about him? What was the initial connection?
There was attraction. He was very good looking.
Hmm.
He wanted to leave the farming town, which
Hmm.
was a goal of mine. I did not want to stay there.
Hmm.
Um, we, um, that's a very good question. A lot of it is it's the environment we grew up in. That's
Hmm.
just what you did. You meet someone, you get married. I wanted to be a wife. I very badly. I
Hmm.
didn't think I was university material. And
Hmm.
later, I had teachers say to me, "Why didn't you go to university?" And I said, "I didn't think I had the grades for it." And they said, "Oh, yes, you did." So a lot of it is about self-worth, right? And value.
Okay. Okay. So, um, so that's something you always wanted to be a wife. And so, when did you start seeing the issues in your marriage?
Early on,
Early on, what were they mainly?
He was very unemotionally unavailable and didn't even want to talk about his day. He was such a hard worker. He was a good worker. And after I left that marriage, I said to him, why wouldn't you go get help? Or why wouldn't you do that? He said, I thought I was being a good husband. I worked hard. But he didn't know that to be a good husband, he also needed to be emotionally available.
Right. So he was so busy working and making money, he thought that was his only job.
And communication was a real challenge for him.
Mm-hmm.
Communication was very difficult. He was quiet. He never wanted to talk about anything. And if there was a conflict, it was ignored. He'd just go out to the garage and work. There would be silences for days.
Wow.
I'd go to bed at night and I'd go, what did I say? Should have I said it differently? Should I have said anything at all? What could I do? I drove myself crazy. I had almost crazy. I had bleeding ulcers, high anxiety. And I wanted to make it work. I wanted to have that happily ever after. But I started to get some health issues.
Okay.
And that was spirit tapping me on the shoulder and saying,
yeah,
you better pay attention to yourself here. This isn't, and it was stressful for him too. He knew I was unhappy. He did not know what he needed to do. And as often, or whatever I told him, what I needed, he wasn't able to help me with that, right?
And
I know it's a job, make yourself happy, but you also have to be in a relationship that's also nurturing and caring, communication, respectful, all of those things.
Yes, it sounds like, because it sounds like you were telling him what the issue was, but it just sounds like he was not hearing you, or he wasn't taking you serious. So are you the one who left the marriage, or was it him?
No,
you left it. And was it just literally the same thing over and over, just not being emotionally available, put in work before you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so
and it wasn't just putting work before me. It was like when we were together, there was no stimulating conversation. There was no connection. There were no feelings. And if I brought up feelings, that would put him into a spin and he would withdraw.
Wow. So it was just like a wall that you could not penetrate. And so did y'all have any happy times within that 35 years?
Our kids were our happiness.
Okay.
Yep. Our boys we both were really invested in the boys and their activities. And so when they got through school.
Right. Oh, okay.
And that's what I sort of said to myself, look, if this isn't any better when the boys are through school, then I need to leave.
And how long after they got out of they got done with high school, how long did you stay in that marriage?
A couple of years.
Okay.
We had a great life. That was what was so confusing. Like the rest of our life was good. Our relationship together was stagnant.
Okay. But it was just the intimacy that a husband and wife should have was just
exactly.
And so were y'all ever intimate, like within those?
Oh, yes, we were, but it was more of it wasn't passionate.
Just exercise. Let's go ahead and do this.
Yeah, it was duty.
And so you said you always wanted to be a wife. Did you always want to be a mother as well?
Yes.
And did you desire to have more than 2 children?
No, I actually had a great deal of difficulty getting pregnant. Actually, my oldest son we adopted because I didn't think I could have children.
Okay.
And 20 months later, I had a baby.
Well, look at that. Isn't that a miracle?
So I got one for nothing and one biological.
Well, look, praise God for that. So that's good. And I've heard that happens. I've heard that testimony so many times.
Yeah. I have a brother the same. I had a friend the same.
Wow, really? And
Yeah.
look, that probably gave you hope that you don't want to get your hopes up, but inside you still kind of wonder maybe that might happen to me. Who knows?
Well, I was told by doctors I wouldn't probably get pregnant, and so when I did, it was everybody was pretty shocked. My specialist phoned me and he said, "You're in my medical books." He says, "You made my day," and I said, "No, I think you did," because he'd done surgeries on me, right? So
That is so great. And so your youngest son, he has 2 children.
both of them have two.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. And so how you said 20 months later. So the first son that you adopted, how old was he when you adopted him?
3 weeks old.
Wow. So you got you a newborn.
And my boys are closer than most blood brothers. They don't make a move without each other.
Nowadays it's not when you grow up you realize it's not even about blood, because blood can end up turning on you, and it's like, are y'all even related? So that's
It's like a soul connection between all
it's
of
a
us.
soul connection.
I believe that my oldest son, I was meant to be his mother, and
Yes.
he was meant to be my son,
Yes.
as well as my biological son.
Yes, it's a soul connection. So I'm 100% with you right there. But that's a great testimony, look, already. And so, when did he find out that he was adopted?
We always told him. It was never a secret. No, he always knew it.
Okay, that's good. So that's great. And so, were your sons able to tell that there was disconnect between you and your husband as they were growing up?
Yeah. It was not a surprise to them when we divorced.
Right. So what were some of the questions or remarks that they would say during the time that they were growing up and witnessing this?
They actually never said anything. As most kids, they just want to hope everything turns out. And so when I chose to leave, after I left, my oldest son said to me, "Mom, I've never seen you so happy."
Wow.
And of course, that made me feel guilty.
Wow.
And they're going through the divorce. The thing with people, when you divorce or when you leave, you've always processed that beforehand, before you leave. So when you leave, it's all the work was before that, right?
Right. So you basically did it long ago.
And for the person you've left, they are just starting to go through it.
Wow. So how did he take it when you?
Not well. Even though I told him many, many times, no, he was, he played the victim hard. And my whole social community left me. I was voted off the island. They were very angry with me.
What?
Very angry with me. See, here's the thing. Your friends that you have the same values. You have the same beliefs. And when you change your beliefs, you don't fit with them anymore. So for them,
what beliefs were these?
I know you're not happy, but you stay, like you're married. You stay whether you're happy or not. And so when I said, no, that's not okay with me anymore. So what happened was it threw everybody into a spin. There was one person got a new BMW, another gal got diamond earrings, and another gal who'd been married 15 years but never had an engagement ring got wined and dined and got an engagement ring. Like, it threw everyone in a spin.
They did that because you got a divorce? I'm not seeing the connection. So why?
Well, here's the thing. We didn't outwardly fight. I didn't think it was right to bring my unhappiness into our friendships.
Right.
But they could tell. They could tell I wasn't happy. But a lot of them blamed me. It was like, well, just be happy. Like, just, he's a great guy. What's the problem?
And so they didn't know. I wonder if they knew before what they
did.
You know.
They were aware of it.
They were aware. They could have, but it seemed like no one took you serious because in that community, you just stay together.
Yep. Yeah.
So you were like the black
And
sheep.
because there was no abuse, no violence.
No physical
Um,
abuse, but what you went through was emotional abuse.
it was, but they don't see it that way.
Mm.
There was no conflict that they saw. There was no violence. And so in their minds, I shouldn't be leaving.
Yeah. But even if you choose to leave, that's between you and him.
Exactly.
Wow. Well, and so they voted you off the island?
Yes. So my boys were in karate. We were all this big group, traveling, competing. And so when I would go to a competition, they would turn away. They would be angry. They would show disgust. I was sitting at a tournament with a gal talking to her, and I looked across, and her husband's going, "Get away from her. Get away." The men were very, very afraid that their wives were going to leave them, I guess.
Oh, because they knew that they were probably abusing them too. And you probably gave people courage.
Their wives, they were questioning, is my wife happy? Like, is there, it was a good thing for a lot of people, actually.
It was, because, yes. And so even though they were shunning you, was your ex-husband shunning you?
No. And neither were my kids. But he kind of liked the attention. He needed some attention.
He liked that they were on his side, so that gave him some comfort.
Actually, I think what he thought was, if all my friends left me, I would come back, because my friendships were so important. I looked to them for emotional support. I looked to them for, most of my entertainment and all of those things. So I think he thought, she'll come back if they all go.
Now, like, even with that testimony, and you probably understand how dangerous it is to let friends be your all too. That's dangerous, because they just turn on you just like that. Were they your friends anyway? Did they care about how you really felt?
No.
No.
Well, not at the time. Not at the time. I would say, a lot of them have had reflection and probably have come to a different opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in that circle anymore, and I didn't fit with them anymore. I just didn't. And so I found a whole new life. I found a whole new group, a social group. I really started delving into my spirituality more. And I found the Enneagram personalities, which gave me the answers to what it was with our two personalities that caused the distance, that caused when you are within a personality and you're not a healthy or conscious person, you have less skills than someone who is more conscious, has done some work on themselves, right?
Yeah. So I do want to know about these Annie, just so we can know. It's Enneagram.
Enneagram. So the Enneagram's been around since the 1700s. It is a very advanced model, a personality model. I was trained by Dr. David Daniels, who was the director of psychiatry at Stanford University. And he made it his life work. He was attempting to get the scientific data into the medical program.
Okay.
And for me, I'll tell you, when I read my profile, it was like reading my biography. It was like, this is what people value in me. Oh, this is why I do this. This is how I think, feel, act, and react. And then there were the parts that stung. Oh, I don't like these parts about myself much. But that's the part that you grow. That brings you to consciousness. And so then when I looked at his personality and I looked at mine, I could see what it was in our communication styles, in our need to be loved, in the way we appreciated each other differently. And so when I coach couples, I do their personality readings and I teach them about how they think and feel. So when someone comes to me for stay or go coaching, the first thing we do is figure this out. And a lot of times they can go back into their relationship just by working on themselves even.
Okay, and so is that how you? That's how you pronounce it, right? Annie
And
Abram.
Enneagram.
Okay,
Enneagram.
Enneagram.
So
Enneagram.
it's actually spelled Ennea Gram, Gram. Enne in Greek means 9.
Okay, 9.
9 personalities. Yeah.
9 personalities. Okay, and so you went on this spiritual journey and found out what personality do you have?
I'm a 2 supporter helper. And
Okay.
so my personality is a nurturer, caring, um, putting other people before myself, which is not, that's before the path of development. So at times they would say, you're an intrusive helper. And I would go, well, doesn't everyone want help? But I didn't realize that at the time because my value was in helping people. Now I do it in a very different way. I'm not attached to outcome. I'll say to them, are you open to some feedback? I have these insights. Would you like to hear them? And if they don't want them, I let it go.
That's good.
That's a
That
very
reminds me of my
different
mom so much. What you just said. And me, because people say, I feel like you're being very intrusive. And I was trying to.
I just want to help, right?
Right.
I just want to help you. But not everybody wants that.
You know what, Eileen? I'm saying it right.
Yeah.
Right. That's also what gave me the permission to go into coaching, because I get to ask those questions. Just like you get to, because you gave me permission to do those things. And so I wanted to know, like, as you said, this is your Enneagram personality is a 2 supporter helper. Is this like the same or kind of like the love languages? I don't know if you heard about that, the 5 love languages.
Well, it's much deeper than that.
It's much deeper than
that. Much deeper. Because the Enneagram has a path of development to take you from patterns that are sabotaging you, take you from being unconscious and unaware to showing you exactly what your patterns are. So when you're triggered into something, so for my personality, it was rejection. Can you imagine when all those friends rejected me? But I had already been studying the Enneagram. And then that was the time I felt the most powerful, because I could understand myself and not personalize and not react.
Right.
So there was no drama. There could have been a lot of drama. There was no drama.
Right. Because you began to start understanding who you are.
And them.
And them. And so when you become secure in yourself,
right,
there's nothing that you can really say that can, I'm good being me. And so, like, your ex-husband, he was shocked at this. And you said you all are great friends now. What is he doing now that you're like, why didn't you do this before? Because I'm not understanding. What is he doing now? Like,
he's in a relationship. I think he's done some self-growth, some self-reflection. One of the programs, his father was an alcoholic. And I think he took Al-Anon, and I think that helped him a lot too, because there's a lot of growth that they offer in that.
So you say he took what on?
Al-Anon. Like, alcoholics have AA program. Relatives of alcoholics have Al-Anon.
I've never heard of that.
Really?
Really? Because they only talk about AA over here.
Yeah.
How do you spell that? Because I'm a
ALAYNON, something like that. Al-Anon.
Okay. So for people who
yeah,
AA relatives. Wow.
I feel, I think there's a real sadness in him that he didn't do the growth.
Yes.
He would do anything for me, and I would help him as well.
Yes.
But we're just not on the same conscious level, right? I've done so much growth that he's not a fit for me.
Not now.
And here's the thing. Here's my belief I'll share with you. People are actors on your stage, and they come and they teach you things. And sometimes they're there for an hour, and sometimes they're there for 35 years. And they're
Yes.
there to teach you life lessons and to help you grow and to bring you to powerfulness and secureness within yourself if you choose to do that. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to do that, you can play the victim, you can create a lot of drama.
Yeah.
But when you use life as life lessons,
Mm-hmm.
that's where life becomes juicy and interesting and helps you to grow and lead a life that is freer and with more consciousness.
Yes. And so you say he's in a relationship, but he would still do anything for you. He still has some regret that he didn't do the work earlier. Regret, but he's in a relationship. So he's not married, correct?
No, there's not.
Do you think he would ever get married?
I don't know that.
Okay,
I
you
don't
don't know
know.
that. So,
Like we don't have that close relationship.
uh,
Like we don't talk about our private lives,
okay, got you.
but we still interact with our kids together.
Okay, so y'all still do family vacations and Christmas together and things like that.
Not vacations, but we have birthdays together, and we're kind of all spread out at Christmas time. So we do Zoom calls
Okay,
where
got you.
we open presents. Everybody opens presents in their own
Mhm.
home, but there's no animosity. There's a lot of respect for each other. I'm very grateful to him for my sons
Yeah.
and for working hard.
Hmm. Wow. And so how long after, or if you know, after you all got divorced, did he begin pursuing another relationship?
Probably 2 years later. Well, here's the silly thing.
Hmm.
So I speak about should I stay or should I go. I speak about the Enneagram. I speak about struggling in relationships. And he brings a gal into our family group. And
Hmm.
she's in every one of my women's networking groups.
Really?
She was. And it
Okay.
was like, okay, that's really kind of weird because she has the same interests that I do in spiritual and self growth. And I'm on stage talking about should I stay or should I go? And I look out in the audience and there she is. And she's crying. And I think, ooh, this isn't good.
She's crying. Why?
Because she was thinking about leaving him at that time. Yeah, sadly. So that relationship did break up
Oh, it did.
because he still had the same patterns, right? He
Right,
hadn't,
right. So he wasn't growing. He just brought his issues to someone else.
yeah, yeah.
That is so interesting. And so what stages, like how did you start speaking on stages?
Well, I've been doing this work for a lot of years. Oh, speaking on stages, probably 2010.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. And then how many lives have you impacted um through this?
I I'm not I can't put a number on it, but when I put there was a couple of instances I'll share with you. There was a younger couple. They were in their 30s,
Hmm.
and she came to me looking for help. She was considering should I stay or should I go.
Hmm.
And then he wanted to have a session as well. And he said to me, we've been to therapists. You're our last hope. If
Wow.
you can't help us, then we are done. And so I did their personality perspective and their similarities and their differences and what their triggers were and how to communicate together and how to open their heart to love and love each other for their differences. And they went out of
Right.
here with a sparkle in their eyes. And then I
Wow.
had another couple who'd been married for 25 years and they got into, some serious patterns. And I coached her to leave him. They were friends of mine, actually. And because it was very unhealthy for her. And he
Wow.
came to me and he said, tell me what to do. I'll do anything you ask. I'll do anything you tell me to do. I'll do it. And so I coached them with the Enneagram for 10 days intensively. And they got back together and are still back together.
That
And they
is so
said those
good.
conversations were so rich. It was like, I never knew why she was afraid to speak up. I thought I was nurturing. She thought I was controlling.
Wow.
He was overrunning her, not listening to her. Very strong personality. She's a peace seeker. You put the two together, an asserter and a peace seeker. Without growth, there's going to be some trouble. And so, the Enneagram there are some churches that will not marry people without studying their Enneagram, without taking Enneagram.
I think that's super important, because like I'm a wedding officiant, right? So I marry people. And I'm married and I'm like, I can already sense when something is not going to work, but I'm not going to tell them that because they should have figured that out before. Because it's not does anybody have any objections? I don't do that.
Yeah.
But I've had people, and most recently, a woman who I married back in May, she is getting a divorce now. You often ask me, am I able to divorce people? But no, I'm not a judge. So, but yeah, it's necessary. It's so necessary. But what I see in the work that you do is both people have to be willing to want this to work and committed to, change.
However, I also had another gal come to me and she said, you know what? My relationship is okay. The kids are gone. It's just okay. But it's time for me to work on myself.
Okay.
And so I worked on her. We figured out his personality. I taught her how to engage him in conversation. And so it would go like, I found this out about, I have a personality pattern of doing this. And I'm sure you've noticed that. And I don't think that's a good pattern for us to have. Have you noticed that? And so that opened up a conversation. And then she would go, I'm wondering if this is part of your personality. Can you tell me if this is true for you? Or I never valued this before until I studied personalities, and I think you might be this one. So you start validating the other person, and you start sharing what your growth is, what you're working on. Because a lot of times in therapy, it's about finding out who's doing what's wrong. That's not my approach at all. It's this person's perspective, this person's perspective. Let's figure out how you both think, feel, act, react, feel loved emotionally as that personality type. And then when you're triggered, what are the patterns and why are they triggering you? And then work together on them.
Oh, wow. And so after you worked with this person who was willing to work by herself, was she married?
Yes. She came back to me and she says, you'll never believe this. He is mirroring everything I'm doing. Like, she just opened up. She was quiet before, but she just, the passion rose in her, the joy rose in her. And she said, he's doing things that he's never done before. We're doing things together. The passion is back between us. The fire is reignited.
Wow.
There can be so much when you understand the depth of the other person and validate them. Appreciation is the magic in any relationship.
Right. And I'm wondering now, because this was able to work on their relationship. How do you think, if you would have known at the time when you were married, how do you think that would have worked on yours?
If it was years before, yes.
Yes.
I think we'd still be married.
Yes, because it's that powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Actually, I was just thinking about that today. Had I known, and I could have validated and appreciated him more than I did, that might have been able to shift him to be able to do that for me as well.
Wow. This is awesome. I'm gonna need the exact spelling for this, but it's on eileenhead.com.
There's a free personality test on my website.
Okay, I'm about to write that down.
Go, you can see my website. It's
Mm-hmm.
next to my name, eileenhead.com. The personality test is free. I have you make a phone call with me to validate your personality type, because some people type themselves wrong. So
Mm-hmm.
when you get your home personality correct, then all the information is so, like, it's freaky how accurate it is. That's
Yeah,
what people tell me. Like, it's like, this is freaky.
yeah.
There's a personality type that is the fear, worry, anxiety personality, and they think that there's something wrong with them. It's just a pattern that they've created. And when they start working on that, when they know there's millions of people like them, I
Mm-hmm.
compare them to famous people, each of the 9 personalities, so that people can look at them and go, oh, they're like me. And then
Yeah.
I do coaching with people to live a better life, to use the law of attraction, to
Mm-hmm.
manifest from their personality, to
Mm-hmm.
create a life they desire. I have manifested so many things.
Wow, give me some examples.
I manifested selling my house for $45,000 over what anyone told me I would ever get in a repressed market in
Mm-hmm.
3 weeks. I could show you pictures of the house on my vision board, to the
Mm-hmm.
one I'm living in now, to the tree out front,
Mm-hmm.
adult community, end unit, walkout basement. Um, and that came in 3 weeks. I
Wow.
wanted to go to all my friends. I play pickleball a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of my friends were going south for the winter. And I went, well, I'm single and I don't have a lot of money. I'd sure like to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And a friend of a friend calls me up and he says, I hear you want to go somewhere. I said, yeah. And he said, well, I have a condo on the beach in Puerto Morelos, Mexico. I will rent it to you in November for $100 Canadian per week per person for 2 weeks.
What, per week?
Per week.
You said 100 Canadian dollars per week?
Per person per week.
Per person per week?
And for 2 weeks. So it cost me $200 to be in this condo on the beach in Puerto Morelos. And then I had this other friend who was renting a condo in Mazatlan. She said, come stay with me for a couple of weeks. So I did that as well. And I said, oh, I really like it here. I'm going to come back in January. And they said, you'll never get in. It's always booked. And I went, no, I have a feeling I'm going to get in. I got in January, February, March. I booked the next year. I'm going October 30th for my 4th year.
Wow. And so how did the manifestation happen? Like, what exactly did you do?
It's a whole process. It's using the law of attraction. It's raising your frequency. That's what my course that I just launched is, Create Your Dream Vision. I do vision boards with you, and help people to really. A lot of people are afraid to dream because what if it doesn't come true? I'll be disappointed again. I teach people
Mm-hmm.
how to dream.
Mm. You teach people how to dream again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and live their best life.
Yeah. So
Manifest, create, and
help me understand, what do you mean by frequency? What is that? Like, what does that mean?
well, it's like a vibration. It's like energy. So, um, if you are listening to CNN before you go to bed, and you're listening to all the war and all the horrible things and the
Okay.
politics and all that crap, how do you
Okay.
feel? How do you feel?
Terrible.
When you walk into a room where someone is getting married, where there's love and people are celebrating that love, you can feel that level of energy.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Okay.
help
So energy.
people to understand where their frequency is at and
Mm.
how to raise their frequency through thoughts, through the language they use, through releasing limiting beliefs, through healing old wounds, to
Mm.
raise their vibration continuously, because we attract what we believe.
Mm.
You
Yeah,
know,
even if that's fear, right?
if you believe that life sucks, life's gonna
Yeah.
suck. If you believe this relationship isn't gonna work, it's not gonna work.
Yes. Wow. I do want to we're gonna talk about this later, but your camera is awesome. I don't know what type of camera that is, but
Just webcam.
really, I love it. But this is so much information, and so we already know where to find you on www.eileenhead.com, and they'll be able to take their Enneagram personality.
Enneagram. Yep, Enneagram test.
Enneagram or Abram?
Enneagram.
Oh, I thought it was Enneagram. I'm sorry. Your Enneagram test, and you'll be able to see this on Relationship Advice for Women. Miss Eileen, I don't know if you'll be downloading this at all, but where will people be able to find you? Do they just go straight to your website, or are you on other channels?
Yeah, I'm on YouTube and Instagram, and I haven't been on Instagram much. I'm getting on there more. I just, my website and my Facebook page, and
Okay.
I just people will say to me, "You're so lucky. You lead such a great life." No luck
Work
involved.
for it.
It's consciously making choices that create opportunities, that create the life I have.
Yes. All right, you all. Thank y'all so much for watching. Miss Eileen, I really appreciate you opening my mind up to something new, because I think I might be taking this personality test and learning more about this seriously.
Yes.
Because if anything that can help, I'm all for it. So don't get off, Miss Eileen. I want to talk to you afterwards.
Okay.
Thank y'all so much, and I will see you next week. Bye.
Live your best life.
That's right.